When you approach the vehicle with the key, it has the full proximity key system. And once you get close enough to it, to where it senses the key, it will turn on the interior lights, but also these lights here on the side. You can see they kind of, well, it goes off quickly if you don't get in the vehicle. So let me go ahead and hit the unlock button so they'll stay on a little bit longer. So when I hit the unlock button, you can see it has this light here on the side. It illuminates the side of the vehicle, kind of accenting the style of the vehicle. It helps a little bit out, shines a little bit on the ground to help you as a semi-approach light, but the position is back here. It's not really here in the front. The headlight switch does have an off position in which you can turn off all the exterior lights completely dark, but if you put it in drive, tried to move the vehicle, it will turn on the parking lights, so you won't be able to move the vehicle with the lights off. So now I have the parking lights on, and the parking lights are really nice. There's these they're visible, and they serve a purpose for visibility as far as some people seeing the vehicle when it's parked or whenever, but it also kind of like an accent light because it looks really nice. I don't know if you can see that. Let me turn the brightness down. Yeah, you can see it's very sharp to my eyes. The camera kind of blows it out a little bit, but it's a really cool tiger face, I think is what they're going for here in the front. There's also a amber side marker here in the front as well. Here in the back, there's a side marker in red in the taillights. And the taillights kind of wrap around to the side of the vehicle, and they look fantastic. Really impressive styling of the vehicle, and they use the lights to accent the styling. Just like we saw on that approach light, it accents the style of the vehicle. Same thing here with the taillights. Really cool looking. And let me turn the brightness down on my camera because it really is a lot of real sharp detail into this tail light. A lot of intricate little lights here. Really well done. It swoops down there on the side. Also, it shines light right in this area right here, and it kind of, you know, once again accents the style of the vehicle using the lights. And also the tag light is very bright, so it kind of helps and serves as an approach light. The turn signal here in the front is basically just turns off that upper portion of that accent light and then flashes a very bright amber light. So let me turn brightness down on my camera once again so you can see that this is quite a bit brighter than that white light. It is much brighter. So it's amber in color. It's very high visibility here in the front as well as the side. You can see that. So you can see it from the front and the side. Same thing with this turn signal indicator here on the side mirror. You can see it from the front, and it's amber in color, the side and the back, and it's pretty bright this way as well. The turn signal here in the back is basically just the outer portion of the taillight flashing a brighter red. So that's all it's doing. So let me turn the brightness down so you can see it's not amber, it's the same light, it's just flashing bright. So it goes dim to bright. It is very bright. I mean, it is definitely visible, but it's the same color as the taillights, and it's in the same exact position. So it's not a separate light, and it's not a separate color. Okay, so let's go to the low beams. You notice the accent lights here on the front, they're not very bright. They're not going to be mistaken for headlights or anything. They're not shining on the ground at all. So let's go to low beams here, and our LED reflector headlights. And we're going to look at them going down the road and see what they look like, see how they perform actually driving the vehicle. But you can see it's in, well, hopefully you can see, it's kind of bright, too bright for you. But it's right now, two reflectors illuminated there on the outer portion of the housing. And the inner portion joins in for the high beams. Now the cutoff is really low. So if I go back here and dip down, you can see I can look directly at the headlights without blinding myself right now. As I dip down, it's about 2 feet off the ground, then they start getting bright. So it's a very low cutoff. So that helps out with not blinding other people, but also you can actually see a lot of light on the ground and see where you're going. Now let's go to the high beams here. And The high beams, like I said, basically just adds that additional light there in the center part. So we do have an additional light that turns on, and so that helps out with the, just adding light helps out. But yeah, all of them now are illuminated. Cargo light is really not that great. We just have a single light here on the left side. It's kind of in a low position, not super bright. This area here is illuminated great, but you can see when I put something here in the back, this whole right side is completely dark. So there's actually lights here in the parking lot that's illuminated in this area, make it a little bit better than what it is, but it's not good at all. It's really been a hassle, me getting my equipment and everything ready because of this poor lighting here. Now, if it had another light on the other side, a little bit higher, if these were on the higher side, up in here somewhere, shining down, one on each side, and you had one under the lift gate, at least one or two, like kind of the over the shoulder type light, that would help out a whole lot in this cargo area, because as it is, it's lacking for sure. The charge port does have a light, but it's basically mostly right here just to tell you what the status of the charge is. So while it does kind of help out a little bit as a light, you can see that the area in which you're plugging in is dark. So it does have a light, but it's not as functional as it may seem. The inside of the back door, there's no puddle lights, approach lights, anything like that. There is some ambient illumination inside in the doors. We'll see that when we get inside. But right now, it's with the door open, it's not showing them. But it does have some backlit buttons here for the power window and the heated seat. It's a two-stage heated seat as well. Pretty nice back here. So the illumination in the back is coming from the center, and it does a pretty decent job of illuminating this whole area, even with black interior. It does a good job of illuminating the seats, the floorboard, everything. So yeah, I would say we have adequate light back here in the back seat area. There is some USB ports that are located here on the side of the seats, and they are not illuminated. The inside of the front door, once again, the ambient lights, the accent lights here on the doors, not illuminated when the door is open, apparently, but it does have all the backlit buttons here, and the presets for the seats also illuminated, but there's no approach lights, puddle lights, or anything like that. And then we have some really cool ambient lights. We'll see that when we get in the inside. And then the lights here in the front are coming from the center. And then once again, we have a pretty decent interior light. Now, this area right here, you can see it's completely dark and there's no lights. Even with the interior lights on, you can't see in there. So that's definitely a big miss there. The front trunk does have a little light in it, which is pretty cool. It's right there in the front though. Right here, this area kind of like gets a little bit dark, but at least it does have a light, which is pretty cool. So now I have the interior lights on, sitting in the driver's seat, so you can see what it looks like. So if I turn off the inside lights, now we have the backlit buttons and accent, ambient light, that kind of stuff. So here on the door, you can see the stuff is illuminated, bottles and stuff there in the door. You see the lights here to the left of the steering column. A little bit of light shining on my leg, so it's a little bit of a bright light there on the door, so it kind of illuminates the floor as well. You can see this here on the passenger side. And there's a light down there as well on the floor. Same thing with here. So it's kind of like floorboard illumination, but it's kind of an indirect way. So it's edge, I guess you can say, than just a regular light that's actually in the floorboard. And it's all blue color. It's really nice looking. And it's visible during the day, which is pretty cool too, because it's bright enough. Of course, you can adjust the brightness if you want. Okay, so we have the backlit buttons here on the steering wheel. The screens are really nice, day or night. I have it on dark mode. You can have it on a bright mode if you want, and then transition to this dark mode at nighttime if you'd like. Have the buttons here. In the shifter area. The cup holders are not illuminated. So you have some areas right here where the phone goes is not illuminated. And this whole area under here, there's like a whole compartment there that's dark as well. Be nice if like maybe that would, because even with the interior lights you can't really see. So it'd be nice if that area was illuminated, at least when you turn on the interior lights, have another light that turns on under there, because it's always dark there. And then the center compartment is dark as well. I turn on the interior lights here. this whole compartment. You'd think there'd be a light there, but no light. There is a light in the glove compartment. It's quite bright too. You can see the lights there in the back seat, on the doors area. And then up here above the rearview mirror, there is, you can see some backlit buttons here. I'm glad that the light, the button to turn on the interior lights is backlit illuminated. Some vehicles don't even have that. The sunroof button is not illuminated, but you can feel for that pretty good. The visors have big mirrors and a light that you have to turn on separately. So it does have a light, but you do have to turn it on. It doesn't just turn on when you open up the mirror here. Now, if you turn it on and leave it on and you accidentally close this up, it'll turn it off for you because it just hits the little button under there. The camera system looks good day or night, and turn the brightness down here on my camera. Yeah, you can see it. There's plenty of, not only does it amplify the existing light, but it also just does a good job. There's lights outside right now, but even when it's really dark, you can see pretty good around the vehicle. Go ahead and put it in reverse and put it in drive, so you can see the front there as well. And we'll go ahead and do this view here, so you can see around the vehicle there. So yeah, you can see pretty good. Here's the light pattern on this fence here. It is not a super sharp cutoff, but you can see a different view there for the low and the high beams. So it does have a cutoff. It's not super sharp because it's just the reflector type system, and usually those aren't as sharp as a projector type system. So I'm going to put it on automatic and then have the automatic high beams on. They seem to work well, but we'll see what happens this time. Driving this vehicle is just so fluid. It's like so connected with the driver. It's so easy to drive around, zip around. It has great turning radius. It has just everything just works well and lines up with what your high expectations really would expect in a really well-driven vehicle that drives well. Better slow down. Okay, so heads-up display looks good. You can't see, yeah, you can't really see the heads-up display. So the headlights are, like I said, they are a little bit jagged, not a super sharp cutoff. Part of that is the oncoming lane is a little bit lower than the other side to help avoid blinding oncoming traffic. But other than that, it's fine. These particular headlights, this particular vehicle, seems like the headlights are adjusted properly. So it's not blinding anybody. The left side is a little bit lower than the right side, or it has like a little shadow there on the oncoming lane, right where it's supposed to be. So that's all good. So this is the all-wheel drive, so it has really good traction, even on, wet roads and stuff. And with the vehicle, this amount of acceleration and torque and all that stuff, the all-wheel drive is definitely recommended for sure. Okay, so now we have the automatic high beams on, and just like the Wind, they're good headlights, they're adequate. They're just not like super wowing, headlights that will wow you or anything. They are adequate. And so far, really, the automatic high beams have been working fairly well so far. So yeah, I can see the pretty good on the sides. I can have a pretty decent distance. And considering we have On the low beams, we have 4 total reflector headlights, and then on the high beams, we have a total of 6 lights on. They tend to overlap enough to where it's not super patchy. There's a little bit of patchiness on the road, but it's not really a big deal. We have a decent distance. The distance can be a little bit better, I would say, but as far as the spread of the light on the sides and in front of the vehicle, they're good headlights. You do have to consider this is an electric vehicle, so I guess the brightness is a little bit cut back, possibly for preserving battery or whatever, but they are definitely good headlights. They're not bad. They're in the higher end, in the low end of the high, I guess you can say. But yeah, I would be satisfied with these headlights, no problem. Where this vehicle needs improvement is some of the pocket lights and the cargo light. Other than that, I would say, and also maybe you have an approach light, that kind of thing, and the compartment under the center console. Those are some areas in which can be improved for sure. So hopefully they will do that in an upcoming years, or whatever. But even in the lowest trim, all that should be improved for sure. When you have significant regen, it will turn on the brake lights. So you can see right there, the brake lights and that mirror are turning on when I hit the regen. I'm not hitting the brakes, I'm hitting the regen. So even when you have the it's on automatic or whatever, when the regen is at a certain level, it will apply the brake lights, because you are slowing down more than you would normally slow down. So it does alert the drivers behind you with the brake lights on.